All right, so it says that we are live, and
to
to
my
my
special
special
guest,
guest,
who
who
I
I
will
will
announce
announce
when
when
it's
it's
time,
time,
just
just
letting
letting
them
them
know
know
that
that
they're
they're
muted
muted
right
right
now.
now.
So,
So, you know,
if they
if they
need
need
to
to
make
make
noise, they
noise, they
can.
can.
Um,
Um,
I'm
I'm
going
going
to,
to,
on my
on my
phone,
phone,
just
just
make
make
sure
sure
that
that
we
we
are
are
streaming
streaming
in
in
all the
all the
different
different
places.
places.
Let's
Let's
see.
see.
All
All
right,
right,
so
so
LinkedIn
LinkedIn
says we're
says we're
streaming.
streaming.
That's
That's
good.
good.
Let's
Let's
see
see
on
on
YouTube.
YouTube.
Oh,
Oh,
you know what? Because I'm
I'm
not
not
subscribed to
subscribed to
myself,
myself,
which
which
obviously I
obviously I
can't
can't
do.
do.
It
It
doesn't
doesn't
show me
show
if
me
I'm
if I'm
live,
live,
but
but
that's
that's
okay.
okay.
So
So
one
one
final
final
check,
check,
because
because
for
for
those of
those
you
of
who
you who
don't know,
don't
we
know, we
did
did
add
add
Facebook
Facebook
to
to
the
the
live
live
stream
stream
now,
now.
so
So
you
you
can
can
live
live
stream it
stream
in
it in
all
all
three
three
places.
places.
And
And
it
it
says that
says
we
that
are
we are
live
live
on
on
Facebook.
Facebook.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Now,
Now,
does it
does it
say if
say
we
if we
have any
have any
eyeballs?
eyeballs?
Because
Because
that's
that's
always the
always the
important
important
thing.
thing.
It
It
doesn't
doesn't
say
say
yet, but
yet, but
if
if
there
there
are
are
people
people
here,
here,
please
please
go to the
go to the
comments
comments
and
and
just
just
comment
comment
something,
something,
because
because
evidently
evidently
this
this
platform I'm
platform I'm
using, it
using, it
has the
has the
ability
ability
to,
to,
show
show
your
your
comments
comments
to
to
me
me
so that
so
I
that I
can
can
share
share
them
them
so we
so
can
we can
talk
talk
about
about
them.
them.
Because
Because
obviously
obviously
tonight
tonight
we are
we
going
are
to
going
be
to be
talking
talking
about
about
MDF,
MDF,
and
and
that's
that's
not
not
medium
medium
density
density
fiberboard,
fiberboard,
in
in
case you're
case you're
interested.
interested.
We're going
We're
to be
going to be
talking
talking
about
about
something that
something that
I
I
think is
think is
really
really
important
important
to
to
running an
running an
MSP,
MSP,
and
and
it's
it's
certainly an
certainly an
opportunity that
opportunity
I
that I
think
think
everybody
everybody
should
should
look
look
into
into
for
for
2023,
2023
as we're
as we're
moving
moving
into
into
what
what
could
could
be
be
uncertain
uncertain
economic
economic
times,
times,
although
although
in
in
my
my
experience,
experience,
most of
most
the
of the
time,
time,
the
the
uncertain
uncertain
times
times
for
for
bigger
bigger
businesses
businesses
become
become
opportunities for
opportunities for
smaller
smaller
businesses.
businesses.
And of
And of
course,
course,
as
as
smaller
smaller
businesses
businesses
do
do
well,
well,
typically the
typically the
MSP
MSP
space
space
does
does
well.
well.
So
So
that's
that's my little
my
my
little
little
rant
rant
on
on
that.
that.
We got a
We got a
few
few
more
more
minutes
minutes
before we
before
get
we get
started.
started.
I'm
I'm
showing that
showing
we've
that
got
we've got
about
about
2 or
two or
3
three
more
more
minutes.
minutes.
We
We
kind of
kind
do
of
the
do the
little
little
pre-show
pre-show
thing
thing
just
just
so
so
that
that
everybody,
everybody,
gets
gets
notified that
notified that
we
we
went
went
live.
live.
Allows
Allows
everybody to
everybody to
connect
connect
before I
before I
bring,
bring,
the
the
important
important
people
people
on,
on,
because
because
nobody
nobody
really
really
cares to
cares to
listen to
listen to
me.
me.
It's the
It's the
guests
guests
that
that
people
people
care
care
about.
about.
And
And
tonight, by
tonight,
the
by the
way, I
way, I
have
have
a
a
great
great
guest.
guest.
Although I
Although I
guess it's
guess
not
it's
a
not a
secret
secret
because I
because I
said it
said it
in
in
the
the
advertisement
advertisement
for
for
this. I
this. I
have
have
Lori
Lori
Tishnite,
Tishnite,
who
who
is one
is
of
one
my
of my
favorite
favorite
people
people
in the
in the
channel.
channel.
Um,
Um,
she's
she's
very
very
similar,
similar,
I
I
think,
think,
sometimes to
sometimes to
me, in
me,
that
in that
she,
she,
in
in
fact,
fact,
well,
well,
she
she
still
still
owns her
owns
own
her own
MSP.
MSP.
I
I
got out
got
of
out of
that.
that.
Can't
Can't
believe it's
believe
been
it's been
almost
almost
10
10
years.
years.
We
We
both
both
kind
kind
of
of
work
work
with
with
vendors a
vendors a
little
little
bit.
bit.
I mean,
I mean,
obviously, I
obviously, I
work
work
for
for
one.
one.
She
She
works with
works
a
with a
lot of
lot of
vendors.
vendors.
And we
And we
both
both
run our
run
own
our own
Facebook
Facebook
groups
groups
for
for
MSPs.
MSPs.
So if
So
you
if you
haven't
haven't
checked
checked
that
that
out,
out,
it's
it's
IT
IT
Owners
Owners
Compass.
Compass.
She
She
actually
actually
did it.
did it.
She
She
took it
took
one
it one
step
step
further and
further and
actually
actually
did
did
some
some
in-person
in-person
events,
events,
which
which
maybe
maybe
we'll
we'll
talk
talk
about
about
that a
that a
little
little
bit
bit
as
as
well.
well.
Because I
Because I
know
know
some
some
people have
people
been
have been
asking
asking
her
her
whether or
whether or
not
not
those are
those
going
are
to
going to
come
come
back.
back.
So
So
maybe
maybe
we'll
we'll
spring
spring
that
that
question
question
on
on
her.
her.
But
But
tonight we
tonight
are
we are
talking
talking
about
about
marketing
marketing
development
development
funds.
funds.
And
And
so
so
I
I
think
think
that's a
that's a
topic that
topic that
everybody
everybody
would
would
probably
probably
like to
like
hear
to hear
about.
about.
As we
As we
wind
wind
down the
down the
countdown
countdown
here, it
here, it
does
does
look
look
like we
like we
have at
have at
least
least
one
one
person
person
watching.
watching.
That's
That's
awesome.
awesome.
So
So
if
if
you
you
are
are
watching,
watching,
please
please
go
go
ahead and
ahead
put
and
a
put a
comment
comment
into the
into the
live
live
stream.
stream.
Most of
Most
all,
of all,
so that
so
I
that
can
I can
test and
test
make
and
sure
make
the
sure the
comments are
comments are
working,
working,
because,
because
that
that
helps.
helps.
All
All
right,
right, we are winding down the clock here.
Oh, and of course we have Sean Lardo. Everybody knows Sean. Sean, thank you very much for showing up. I do appreciate that. And by the way, buddy, if you want to be involved in the conversation later, let me
let me
know.
know.
I'll
I'll
send you
send
a
you a
link.
link.
I
I
have
have
room for
room for
three
three
people
people
on
on
the
this
screen.
screen.
And
And
you
you
know
know
my
my
phone
phone
number, so
number,
you
so
can
you can
text me.
text me.
All
All
right.
right.
Timer's over.
Let's
Let's run the
run the
intro.
intro.
All right. Welcome, everybody, to another edition of All Things MSP. And Sean says I have an echo. Boy, how do I have an echo? Sorry, I'm looking. Let me mute some other things here. How's that? Did that take care of it? Yes, no, maybe? Okay, well, anyway. Okay. Thank you, Sean. I think I know what happened there. So, I think, yeah, well, we'll talk about it later. Okay. So, for those of you who don't know, this is All Things MSP. All Things MSP is basically, it started as a Facebook group where I just wanted to share my experiences and the experiences of all the people that I know with the MSP community. Now, we kind of do focus on more of the business side of things rather than tech, because there's a lot of great people out there doing the tech side of the MSP business. And I thought that we needed something a little bit different. And so this is kind of just my way of giving back to the community. We are now on, in addition to Facebook, we're on LinkedIn as well as YouTube. So on Facebook, just in case you're connecting from somewhere else, it's just facebook.com/all things MSP. On LinkedIn, it's linkedin.com/company/all-things-MSP. I had to improvise there a little bit. And then, of course, if you are not subscribed to the YouTube channel, go ahead and go over there and subscribe to that as well. Now, my guest tonight is no stranger to this community. She has done a lot of stuff for this community. She's a great MSP. I think she has a very unique business model, which I think also makes it really important in this business because I think there's a lot of room for different ways to run an MSP. And Lori has certainly done that. And I really think that, in fact, I was looking at her LinkedIn page just today to kind of just get caught up. And she's actually owned Computer Concepts, and she can correct me in a minute when I unmute her, for 24 years now. That's like incredible. So kudos to her for that. But tonight we're going to talk about marketing development funds. And marketing development funds are some things that you can use as an MSP to spend money on marketing for your business that you get that money from your vendors. So without further ado, let me go ahead and unmute her first because that's the polite thing to do, and then bring her on screen. Hey, Lori.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Well, I'm excited to be here today, and I'm wondering if I'm echoing.
Well, I'm sure Sean will let us know, but I'm pretty sure I know what was causing mine.
And what's interesting is that you had an echo when I first was muted after we chatted, but it went away and it hasn't come back. So now I don't hear your echo, so I'm not sure what it was.
Okay. I have a feeling it had to do with me playing the video for the intro, and that's when it started.
Got it. All right.
So perfect.
Well, I'm excited to be here. And yes, you are correct. I started my business back in 1999. So I guess that is 24 years. I started as a doing business because I wasn't sure if I was going to stay in business. And then I became a corporation, I think a year or 2 years later, but I've been in business since 1999.
Awesome. Yeah. So see, I had a break in there. You've done it continuously, which I think is amazing. I had a break fix that I started actually in 92 and had until about 2002, went and did a couple of other things and then had my MSP for 7 years. But to do it 24 years in a row, that's a major accomplishment.
Well, thank you. But it started out really being more of a business consultant, automation for businesses, and a training company at the enterprise level for larger corporations. So that's how I started, and then everything kind of flowed over to this direction, several years ago. But it's been the same entity, just doing different things over time.
Right. So you just evolved based on either the opportunities that you saw in the market or what you felt like doing, which is a perfectly valid thing to do that I think a lot of people overlook. We need to be happy with what we do. So,
Yeah, it's all kind of just evolved over time. And just like last year, uh, I was the ambassador for Enverosoft, but I wanted to do something a little bit different than what I was doing every day. So I think having your own business allows you that opportunity to, go explore other options and just do something different than your normal day in and day out.
exactly. Exactly. And that's one of the reasons I do the all things MSP thing, right? Because I want to do something a little bit different than my day to day. Juan says that he loves what you do. Look at
Thank
that.
you.
See, I can add
Oh,
comments to the screen.
I love that. I love the pictures too.
Yeah. And so yeah, I will, because I don't want to leave out Sean. There's Sean telling me that I have an echo. All the doodads that we can play with this, we're tech people, right? And it shows. Whatever. Um, but let's switch gears to business, because I know that MDF is something, and basically this started with a post I think that I did on Facebook, um, where I was talking about MDF and wanted to know who was using MDF, and you kind of chimed in and said something, and that led to a conversation where we just talked about, hey, why don't we talk about this on a live stream? And well, here we are. So, Lori, just for those of the people that don't know what MDF is, explain what MDF is a little bit and where it comes from.
Well, MDF funds are marketing funds that you can request from your various, partners. I call some of my vendors my partners because I've been with them for a long time. But it's an opportunity for you to utilize either their staff to help you host an event, put on an event, utilize their marketing dollars to help you, again, put on an event, go to an event, but it's for you to obtain more clients, right? It's for you to advertise to who you can market to gain more business in your area. So it's about creating those relationships with the vendors that you work with.
Yeah, and basically the idea is here that the money that they give you to expand your business comes back to them because obviously you are marketing their product using their funds. And so that's where it becomes mutually beneficial. But I'm sure that most vendors don't release those funds just, I'm going to use a Southern word, willy-nilly. So what are some of the things that you have to do? Do you have to qualify? Do you have to be a different level with a vendor? What are some of the things that you might have to do to kind of get access to those MDF funds?
Well, I don't know. I've never had anyone say to me I needed to be at a different level to get anything that I've requested in the past. So I don't know necessarily, and I don't know every vendor, but I do know that it many times it takes asking your account sales rep to, is there a form that you need to fill out? They can direct you maybe to somebody in marketing or the form to fill out. And I know I got started with this when I received a request from one of my clients to attend, sponsor like a hole in one, sponsor a golf outing. And instead of me having to come up with those funds, I was able to ask a vendor to cover the cost of the event. And then I was also then able to use them and request, giveaway gifts that I could give to people that were coming to the hole or to the hole in one or whatever the hole was that day.
So what was, because you mentioned a lot of different things there. So what are some of your favorite things that you've used MDF funds for?
Well, I've used, sometimes I don't actually get money. Sometimes I just get goods or services, or I get a person helping me at an event. I know a couple years ago, I was hosting an event. I was speaking at a chamber event, a morning breakfast, and I was chatting with one of my vendors, asking them for a presentation. Hey, do you have a new presentation? I'd like to incorporate some new things that you guys talked about today. They happened to be in town at an event, and I was at the same event. And they said, well, instead of us just giving you the presentation, would you like us to come and give the presentation with you? Okay, that sounds good. I mean, I'm fine speaking, but it was great to have that extra person along with me. It gives you more validity, I guess, when you're speaking to another group, that you have someone from the product there that can answer maybe more in-depth knowledge, more in-depth questions or knowledge about, that particular topic was dark web, and, the dark web and some of the things that you can see on it. So it was great to have them come for something like that.
That's
So
awesome. Yeah, it's not just about the money, right? It's also, there are opportunities like that where you can actually bring their expertise in. I know we did that a lot with sales engineers in my previous vendor life. And so there's a lot of opportunities, because vendors really, especially the MSP vendors, really want to help you, whether that's sell, do marketing, even support. There's just a lot of opportunities out there for vendors to help you. And MDF is one of those. It's been around for a long time, but it's something that not everybody takes advantage of. So, and I know that there's not an infinite amount of MDF funds available. So, Lori, what are some of the things relationship wise that you've done to kind of increase your relationship with these vendors so that, they continue to give you MDF funds?
Well, sometimes I just think being nice to a vendor when they
Goes a
call
long
you,
way.
not hanging up on them. I was, for example, today I received a call from a new vendor that I don't really know. And I really didn't have time to talk to them, but ended up having a nice conversation with the person on the other end of the phone. And that person was just sharing with me how they were just grateful that I was nice, because so many times when she calls or he calls, people, they just hang up, or they're gruff, and they get yelled at, and that doesn't really help build that relationship, because even though you may not use that particular product or that product right now, you don't know where that person's going to be in 6 months or a year or 2 years from now, and they may remember you. So I just try to treat people the way that I would want to be treated. So that's one. Uh, the other thing too is, when you're at an event, make sure you get out and go to an event, or talk to the reps, figure out who people are on the different Facebook groups. They are there to help you. I know a couple months ago I was hosting an event, not hosting an event, I was at an event, and I was computer concepts at the event, and it was really there to help promote technology to younger girls. And I could give away different items to the younger girls. Well, I don't really have anything, because computer concepts wasn't going to events for the last couple of years. So I'm out of stock from my own company. But I reached out to several of my partners that I know that I just recently saw at an event, and asked them if they could give me just a few items so that I could have them on the table to pass out to the girls that were coming to the event. So this wasn't anything that I was getting for business. This wasn't anything that they were going to get for business, but it was just really to empower, me to have a nice table and to promote technology to, 100 girls that showed up to an event on a Saturday morning. So it was
Yeah, and
pretty, to me, it was pretty special.
and that's what, to me, that's a perfect example of why this community to me is so great, because there wasn't a direct correlation between ROI and them giving you that swag. But there's a certain amount of, and I think in this community it even goes farther in terms of goodwill, because this is a stressful industry, and you're right. There's a lot of, we know who they are, people who are very gruff, as you put it on the phone, And but this community is just so great that we a lot of times overcome that, and there are people that truly reflect what's great about this industry, and I'm going to be showcasing a lot of those people over the next several months, by the way, because my push for all things MSP this year is pretty much all about community, and so I've got a lot of great. I've got people recorded and things. In fact, Sean and Juan, who are both watching, were nice enough to do that. In fact, you probably have seen Juan in the first video that I did, kind of focusing on community, and Sean's is coming out relatively soon. I'm hoping the end of this week, but I'm not making any promises because I've been busy. But back to the MDF thing. I know for some vendors, and I don't know if this is your experience or not, but I know that some vendors kind of make you record what you did with the money so that you can report back to them how you spent the money. Has that been the case with you?
I haven't had to report back, but I did have to fill out a form in order to get some money. Like, what am I going to be using it for? And how is it going to be applied? And I know that from another MSP in the area, they were going to be doing a breakfast. And I think something happened. Either they didn't get it out in time, or people were canceling left and right. I don't remember what the issue was for them, but they had everything scheduled, and they ended up, inviting other peers in the area that were partners with that particular vendor because they couldn't get the draw for people to attend. So, I mean, they do want you to have people show up to an event. I know the next event I want to host, I want to try to pull together 2 vendors so that I can host it in a larger area, in hopes that I would have, 50 or 60 or maybe even 100 people attend from my local community, my customers and other potential customers, and just like an education about, hacking and how to keep your information safe and protected, the main key things that most people are interested in learning about. And I just want to make sure that I can pull it off and pick a good date time that will work, but that sometimes is stressful too.
Yeah.
Because you never know.
So speaking of events, and I teased this at the beginning, because I truly believe that the IT Owners Compass events that you've done in the past were some of the most fun events that I've been to, because just the casual atmosphere, it's just much more personal, because I don't know, there's just something about it. It's probably just you, because you're so organized and you put on great things. But I know I've seen it in the Facebook groups and stuff. People have been asking if IT Owners Compass is going to come back as a live event.
It is going to come back as a live event sometime this year. I'm trying to find the right date that it's not. I'm just trying to find the right date where hotel rooms are not crazy expensive in Chicago. I am hosting an event with Harry on February 17th in Chicago. We haven't really announced it yet, so I might be jumping the gun a couple days. Sorry, but we're going to be hosting a workshop there on February 17th in Chicago. It's not my normal like 2.5 day event where everyone's together morning, noon, and night, but it's just a 1 day event. So hopefully that will spearhead even more fun things to come. But yeah, Harry and I have got something going on in just a few weeks.
Awesome. And by the way, just so you know, I did send a link to Sean, so that if he wants to join us, he can. Because obviously love to hear from as many people as we can. And Juan, actually, if you're interested in joining, I can only have 3 people at a time because I didn't create the graphics to do more than that at one time. But we can certainly swap back and forth.
Yeah. And then, Eric, one other thing I wanted to add
Sure.
too, while you're getting them, if they're going to join us, I did learn from one of my vendors that they were during COVID, they were doing a ton of even virtual events where they were shipping alcohol or like a food package out to their customers where the customers then could partake in to whatever, there was like someone tasting wines or someone tasting whiskey. So there's different things that you can do to get people to come to an event where there's some form of a speaking engagement and some other type of fun activity. And just finding that activity that you think your customers would come to, I think is the key thing. But they're just like we go to Top Golf with some of the vendors, you could take your customers to Top Golf. Maybe I'm going to take people to curling this winter and do something at Exmoor, which would be fun. Uh, but it's just to get people out and about, but they do have the funds to pay for it. But I think it also depends on the vendor that you've partnered with that you're asking for that money. So
Right.
depending on your event, you may need two sponsors, depending on how expensive it may be.
Yeah, and the rules from the different vendors may be different. But I actually like what you pointed out, and there are a lot of companies out there because the pandemic really forced this, right? Where there are these opportunities to bring in something that is like we did several in the past couple of years. We did let's see, we did a cooking one where we actually brought a chef and he cooked a recipe right there on the grill and you could, and we provided the people who attended like a gift card to buy the ingredients, some of the things like his spice mix and stuff. So, and they package these specifically for virtual events. And we did one you could choose whether you wanted a cocktail, wine, or a non-alcoholic cocktail. And then I think the most recent one we did, which I thought was a lot of fun, was we did a lock picking class. So it was a lock picking class, and then there was the obvious pitch involved as well. But the participants got a lock picking kit and a test lock that they were taught how to pick that lock during the event. So that one was a lot of fun. So things like that can really go over well.
Very cool. Those are very neat.
Yeah, just the only thing I would say there is make sure that you're keeping your audience in mind.
I definitely agree with that.
So, okay, well, before I bring Sean on, because he did come into the green room, is there anything else that you'd like to share from your experience of using MDF funds or even marketing in general that could help MSPs in 2023?
Well, I think it's really just sitting down, taking a look at who your partners are in terms of your vendors, and going in and asking them if they have any way to help you market your business. And they had, again, like you said, they are wanting you to grow. They want you to succeed and they want you to use their products. So I would say look to your list and see who you can reach out to and find out, how they can help you. It's an ask. If they say no, that's okay. Go down your stack list to the next one and see if you can.
Because it's not like we all use one vendor.
Correct.
All right. So I'm going to go ahead. I've made place for him on the screen. So let me go ahead and let him in. There he is. Hey, Sean.
You're echoing again.
What? How about now?
Still going. Doing great. Hi, Louie. How are you doing while he's fixing his stuff?
I'm doing well. How are you? Wait, what does your T-shirt say?
Oh, I found it.
Never
Very
forget.
nice.
Yes.
I have the same T-shirt in a different style.
Is it like a halter top or something? Like a midriff? Is that what I mean?
You know me so well, Sean.
I do.
No, it's different
gone.
colors.
Echo's gone. You're good now.
Thank you. I think, not to get too technical, and nobody else cares, but it's just us anyway. It looks like when I'm changing scenes, it's turning on my AirPods. So
Need to lock those down. Just saying. Forget them.
well, I just deleted that audio source, so there we go.
Well, good. I wasn't intending on being on your show, obviously. I'm sitting here enjoying a cigar. I was typing up some new initiatives for 2023 and smoking my cigar. And here I am now with you guys. So thanks for having me.
Well, it's a community. We like to do these things, just weird like this. So
Which is almost all of our interactions.
pretty much.
But weirdness?
Hashtag Unicorn Club.
Yes, exactly. That's what this show should be called. That honestly, they are real. I've branched it off. There's like people really want to be part of this unicorn thing. They feel like left out. They see you with your picture with your unicorn pillow, and actually Juan Fernandez was already complaining about it, and I was like, sorry, man. Guess you gotta be more impactful in this. Gotta be more impactful in the space, and I'll give you one.
Oh, and I really wish I had a screen where I could put 4 people on right now because
I'm sure he has plenty to say. But
oh.
I love your conversation about MDF. And Lori, I appreciate you talking about the various ways that vendors help, because I know partners don't understand that it exists. And I also know vendors don't know how to necessarily do a good job at applying MDF or vetting it or whatever it may be. Over the years, I've seen different programs they just hand you a bunch of money and they're like, good luck, we hope you do something with it. And I've seen programs where they're so stringent where you have to do a 27-page report on what you're doing with it. So it just deters people from wanting to even fill it out or apply for it. And it just that stunts the growth. Both stunt the growth regardless.
Yeah. And, if any vendors are watching this, there are tools out there now that make it much easier to do and much easier to show ROI without forcing the partner to do a whole bunch of reporting.
Agreed. Well, you should look at, so most of the PRMs that are out there, a lot of them started to branch off into offering these things, these capabilities. Like, I'll give you a good example, like 360 Insights, right? They've been doing it for a long time. They came into the market that way. And they acquired. What's that?
What's a PRM?
Partner Relationship Management Platform.
Oh, okay.
So
I didn't know that.
Right. Well, look, see, we're all learning something new today. So you figure for a vendor, a CRM is internal facing for their channel managers, right? Channel sales managers and whatnot. A PRM is partner facing. Typically, you'll do a lot of your interactions with the vendor through there. Whether it's you're doing depending on what the relationship consists of, like what kind of partners they are. A lot of them will turn them into marketing and sales content repository areas, onboarding, quote request, MDF request, and management. So, and like I said, Office or 365 Insights rather, they launched theirs years ago. It was 360 Insights. I'm sorry, I'm totally misquoting. 360 Insights. They launched theirs a long time ago. That's how they came to market, and then they started to acquire traditional PRM pieces as well, like Web Infinity. Heather Margolis, actually, she's senior VP of marketing there, and she was acquired by them. So they are very much channel only, and MDF is a big struggle point. It's a huge struggle point. How much money is not used? I can tell you from when I did this in the past, you would see like 50 to 60% of the budget was never spent that was supposed to be on MDF.
And I think, Sean, that speaks to traditionally, and I'm not picking on anybody here, right? Because most of the people who get into this are technicians at heart. And so marketing is not built into them. They didn't go to business school. They went to engineering, or they just picked it up wherever they did. And they went out, and very similar to a plumber who is a technician turned entrepreneur, or, as somebody puts it, has an entrepreneurial seizure and goes to work for themselves. MSPs or IT people in general can be very similar to that. And so unfortunately, you're absolutely right. A good majority of these MDF funds go unspent. And they're there for you to ask for. And if you're not, you're really missing out on an opportunity.
But also agreed, and you're right. There's no structured plan for somebody that is an IT person that doesn't do marketing and sales. There's a big difference. I mean, like, I'll give Lori kudos for what she did. When she was doing the Verisoft stuff, when she started it, and I saw her at a conference, and she's like, "Let's take a picture on this thing that has Verisoft wrapped all around it." I mean, that's ingenious, right? Everybody and their mother got pictures taken in it, but how many people think about that? I'm going to totally steal it, but I think it's a great idea because I didn't think about it. But,
I am available for rent, by the way. The camera is available for rent with me along with it.
As long as, and then I got to meet your husband, which I didn't know what he looked like because I always saw his shoes or his pants. So I wasn't sure who he was. I thought he was a stalker. Until he turns around and was like, "Oh, hey, how are you doing?" No, but it's, there's no real thorough plan put out there. I think, what you've seen over the last couple of years is MSPs realizing they have to actually invest in growth. Stop buying servers and stuff like that and buying techie stuff you don't need anymore because you already have a good infrastructure. Let's start talking about how you invest in growth. And even like with ConnectWise, we pushed when we entered in cybersecurity, we started doing the co-sell program, which is exactly part of this. We'll do it, either we'll show you how to do it, or do it with you, or we'll do it for you. And MDF can apply to all that as well.
Yep.
So
Very
absolutely.
Well,
go ahead.
Well, I know for me, and I think moving forward for more people, because I hear it all the time. What can I do to market myself? What can I do to get out there to get in front of new customers? And for me, I always say to people, go and speak. Go find a chamber, find an association, attorney association, whatever your vertical is, go find that association and go ask them if they'd like a speaker on something. And if you're not good at coming up with the presentation, again, ask one of your partners if they can send you some presentations to utilize, some, statistics. Sometimes I meld a bunch of different presentations together to fit whatever I'm trying to discuss. I don't mind going in and speaking in front of a group, but even if you're not comfortable standing up in front of a group, ask one of your vendors if they have, someone that can come to your event and speak on your behalf. They have salespeople, around the country that are maybe drivable to you or can fly to you if it's a big enough venue, and they can come and help support you. I mean, it's an ask. And if you don't ask, you're never going to get it. But at least if you ask and you're starting to put yourself out there and get something on the calendar, I think it can only benefit you in 2023 when you are going to be looking for new clients, if you're going to be losing some with what may be occurring in the next 6 months. Who knows? But it's definitely a way for you to get more clients and at least get out in front of more people to at least try to get more leads.
I would agree. I think as an MSP, you're a local business usually. So why not be engaged in your locale everywhere you can, every group you can. And if you have a niche that you're good at, like if it's legal or it's hospitality or it's healthcare, they all hang out at places too. I have a good friend of mine. He's an MSP here in Pittsburgh. He was a staffing company that IT staffing had turned into MSP years ago. And the first thing he was told, he's like, they said, "Why don't you sign up at the local country club?" And he's not a golfer. He's none of that. He's just, but he knows bourbons. So that's good, and he can talk about that. But he's a good people person when he's there. He just doesn't know where there is. And so he signed up, and then he also then started to sign up for like the different boards within the country club to be part of just ones. And they're all business owners. And he wasn't even at that point, he had dealt with mostly car dealerships. And then he realized oh my goodness, look at all these attorneys. And then he became he's like the MSP legal guru. And he speaks for them everywhere, especially now when COVID took place and all their attorneys were working from home, they were seeing losses because they didn't know how to do business. Because a lot of the law firms they are old school. Everybody was in the office. There was nobody in the office at one point because everything was shut down. So he helped them devise their system so they could actually still do business, maintain business continuity. And once he started doing that, they all started introducing to their friends and their friends and their friends and their friends. And he added on. And During COVID, he added on over 25 new customers.
Wow.
Right. And that was all word of mouth from the very first two. And that's only because they knew him at the country club. He had been at the country club for about 2 years before he actually got a first client. So it was an investment. And that's also just due to because he didn't know how to navigate it. He didn't know where to push. He's not a sales guy. He's an IT guy.
Well, and I think that's a great point, because referrals traditionally, and I think all three of us have been in this long enough that we know the referrals have been huge in the IT outsource industry, especially amongst small businesses. And we've seen that decline slightly over the last few years because there have been professional business people getting into this business. We've had business people starting MSPs, not just technicians that had an entrepreneurial seizure. But there are things that you can do, like Sean was talking about, to really jumpstart and enhance getting those referrals. So you can do things like actually actively going out and asking your existing clients for referrals, rewarding them for referrals. I think Lori makes an excellent point. There's a reason why most of your vendors pay a lot of money to stand up in front of a room at a show and talk to you, because public speaking works. And so it's, take some ideas from what your vendors are doing, and they're willing to help you. I mean, that's really what this live stream was about tonight, was MDF, and how your vendors are willing to help you with MDF, with co-selling, like Sean mentioned, with having people do presentations, like Lori mentioned. So there's a ton of things that you can do that are not going to cost you a lot of money. They might cost you a little bit of time, but you need to focus on all pieces of your business. And I think 2023 is going to be one of those where the people who are focusing on the right things are going to come out of this on the other side even stronger than they're going into it. We've seen that before in hard times, for MSPs. But anyway, we are over time, but a great conversation. And Sean, I'm glad you could join us.
Me too.
We should schedule one for you in the future, and maybe then Lori can, jump in on that one and, crash the party.
You should. Absolutely. The more the merrier. It doesn't hurt.
Can I get a unicorn too?
I mean, that's very possible.
Yes.
That's very possible. I actually handed out to our pitch it winner. I gave him a sloth neck pillow. Yeah, I was like, you're the new sloth. I can't do unicorn. We're new sloth. It was colorful. I honestly wanted to keep it. It was so nice. And I also gave Jason Slago a sloth because because he literally put himself out of he's always engaged everywhere, but he put himself out of his comfort zone. He shaved his face with me, which we all looked weird, but he still maintained the shave because his wife said he had to. And then also we did that rap battle. He actually got on stage and did a rap, and I was like, oh my God, dude, good for you. You're the man. You deserve accolades. Talk about an IT guy coming out of his shell.
Exactly. And he really is. I mean, he's doing a ton of stuff. Just he's so out there. By the way, I do have to say the beard is coming in nicely, Sean.
Thank you. My daughters were like, what is that? Please don't come around me until it grows. Like, seriously, they didn't want to talk to me. My youngest was like, ooh. I was like, ooh? I'm like, you be more supportive, honey. I already feel slightly open and a little vulnerable.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, seeing all of you without beards was really weird.
Oh my God, yeah. Yes. Very weird is an understatement. It was the first time in years I walked through the Solution Pavilion and not one person talked to me.
Yeah.
Nobody knew who I was. So I actually enjoyed it. It was really quiet.
I mean, I didn't recognize Bob Coppage for a second.
Oh my, yes. Well, he looks like David Letterman when his grows out real long, just like David Letterman with a beard. That's who he looks like.
But yeah, pretty much all of you, they're all coming back nicely.
Yes.
I'm a little jealous, actually.
I don't know. You got a lot going on right there. I don't have that yet.
I'm letting it grow a little bit longer. We'll see how long that lasts.
I'm looking at mine. I'm like, I can see it in the video. It looks okay. Looks okay. Not where it needs to be, but we're getting there. That's my resolution for 2023. Grow my beard.
All right. Well, Sean, any last words?
No, just keep doing what you're doing, man. You do a really good job. I appreciate what you do for all of us, keeping us informed, and you put yourself out there regularly and take time out of your personal time on a daily basis to do this stuff. So I appreciate that.
I do too. I always learn something new.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that's one of the great things about this is we all have things to learn. I mean, Lori and I were talking about this before the call. There is so much to learn, so much new to learn on really a daily basis that it really keeps us hopping, and it really comes down to how much we all share. Because it's the experiences that each one of us have with the different parts of this industry that we can then share so that other people aren't surprised. Well, cool. Guys, thank you very much for joining me tonight. I'm going to go ahead and end the live stream here.